What if you could just have a chat with your database? Ask it plain text questions. Something like this in a shoe database. Show me the brand, stock quantity, model from the products where the stock quantity is less than 15. The same kind of question you and I would ask. Let's go for it. And what you can see is that the database has actually handled that question. It's generated SQL to get the data, and then it's actually turned that into narrated results that it can return. How cool is that? Well, this is the Oracle AI database, and it's got LLM functionality baked right into it. It's honestly really cool. Now, this is a TanStack Start application, and I'm on the TanStack team, so I'm going to show you how I connect this to TanStack AI and actually integrate this into a chat flow, and then also how this connects to another really cool feature of the Oracle AI database, and that's JSON Duality views. But before I do that, let me just say that this video is sponsored by Oracle, and thank you so much to them for sponsoring this channel and sponsoring this video. Let's get right into it. All right, let's do another cool demo before I start really kind of digging into the mechanics here. So this is a TanStack AI chat, and I'm just going to ask it, what's our most expensive shoe? Now, this chat is powered by TanStack AI and Anthropic models. What we're doing is using TanStack AI to define a tool, which is to execute a text query, and we're giving that tool over to Anthropic. Anthropic is then taking our question, what's the most expensive shoe? It's then formatting a tool request for that query, and it's just giving it plain text. Show the brand, the model, the price, and it's building out essentially a plain text version of that query and getting back the narrated result and then telling the customer what the result is. It's just really cool. So let's go check it out underneath the hood and see what the code looks like. Now, of course, all this code is available to you for free in a GitHub link in the description right down below. The beating heart, the connection to Oracle, is right here in oracle.ts, where we're bringing in the Oracle DB library. Now, here's where the fun begins. It's the execute select AI function that takes a prompt. That's just the string that comes in that is the human text prompt, and then the action, in this case, narrate. So it's going to run the SQL, and then it's going to get back the result, and then it's going to narrate that. Or it's just going to show the SQL that it would run if you asked it to. And then in terms of SQL, it really couldn't be any easier. We're just using the generate function. We're giving a prompt and then that action, and then we get the response. If you're not into the whole TypeScript thing, I've actually included some shell commands like selectai.sh that allow you to just directly do this in your shell using the Oracle SQL command. And again, you can see the same kind of selects that we're using in our TypeScript. Now we're just using them right there in the shell. Now what this does on the Oracle side is it takes that prompt, it runs it through an LLM, and that LLM then has access co-located to all the schemas and the data. And I think that's the really unique thing about this particular feature is it's going to be accelerated because it has all of the access to the local schema and the local data, of course, by access control layer to go and get all of the results for that query. Now let's go back in the app for a second and talk about JSON Duality views and how they pair with this Select AI system. If you don't know about JSON Duality views, it's a really cool feature of Oracle in particular. And what it allows you to do is access all of your relational data with essentially a Mongo style object access. So let's take, for example, this query, show Sophia Martinez's purchase history query. So what it's going to do first is use that Select AI to go and find Sophia Martinez and then get her email address. And then it's going to use a JSON Duality view to go and get all the data for Sophia Martinez based on that email. And so that's why you see this Duality view tag over here. That's a different tool. We're using two tools here. One is to use that Select AI, and the second is to use this Duality view as a query. So you see here that we're returning JSON from this. That's the JSON serialize. Pretty easy. But the really special sauce here is that we are getting it from the customer orders DV or duality view. So let's see how we've defined this. So to do this, we've created a relational duality view. So this is really where you need to hang out in the relational system. What you're doing is creating a mapping between the relational model and the object model. But you only have to do this once. And then after this duality view is created, you can actually insert records and also query records from the database in more of an hierarchical object style. It's really cool. So we can see here all the information that we're getting about the customers, and then nested within that, all of their orders. And then nested within that, all of the product information about whatever the product was within that order. And check it out, you can see that exact schema right over here in the JSON that was returned. Now with that data, of course, our chatbot was able to then go and take all of that data and summarize it into markdown format and give us a really great answer. So I think this combination of Select AI and JSON Duality views is really interesting architecturally. Now, of course, you don't need to use Select AI in order to use JSON Duality views, and vice versa. You don't need to use JSON Duality views to power the Select AI. Those work individually, but I think together they're really cool. But I think the JSON Duality views architecturally is fascinating. It goes and kind of removes one of the layers of problems that we have when it comes to relational databases of managing transactions and all that, so that when you're inserting or querying from the database, you give it objects and it returns objects, and then it maps that onto those relational views. It's really cool. Before I give you some final thoughts on these features, let's go and take a quick look at how this all flows through the code. So up on the client, we create a React hook called Use AI Chat, and that Use AI Chat then connects to API AI Chat. Let's go and take a look at the code for that. Right at the top here, we have a big system prompt that tells it when to use these tools like Select AI, and then also the JSON relational duality view. And then in the post handler, we use the TanStack AI chat function, and we give it the two tools that it needs access to. Execute query, which is the wrapper around Select AI. It just takes natural language and then executes it using that LLM in the database. And then get customer profile, which is our JSON Duality powered tool. That's the one that goes and gets us the full object tree for whatever customer we want to look at. And these tools are defined using a tool definition. So we're telling the LLM exactly what this tool does by giving it descriptions not just of the tool, but all the parameters that go into the tool. And then that tool is defined as a server tool. So it's only going to run on the server. And it just calls that same execute select AI with SQL function that we defined before that calls the select AI function in the database. It's that easy to hook up a chatbot with select AI and have it so that your LLMs can make ad hoc queries to the database. And I think that's actually, when it comes to how to use this in any kind of real world setting, my hunch is that this is going to be more for ad hoc queries internally to a business. This isn't going to be something that you're going to give to customers directly. This is going to be something where if you want to go and take a look at the backend data, make arbitrary queries against it, this kind of select AI functionality is fantastic for that. But I think the JSON Duality views has an even further role into production, where you can go and greatly simplify your client code by creating an object mapping layer that goes and takes objects as inputs and creates objects as outputs for your clients that then spread out and fan out into that stable, reliable, performant relational database schema. All right, again, thanks to Oracle so much again for supporting the channel and for giving me an opportunity to take a look at these really fascinating features in the Oracle AI database. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, put that in the comment section right down below. And of course, if you like the video, hit that like button. If you really like the video, hit the subscribe button and click on that bell, and you'll be notified the next time a new Blue Collar Coder comes out.